Okay, we got a doozy for us today. So back in second year of university, I was got a board and I wanted to join a fitness, not fitness, a sports club. So I picked ultimate frisbee. I played ultimate frisbee back in high school. Was really shit at it, but I knew how to throw. I was a bit athletic, so I joined the team, right? And honestly, it was amazing, right? That's that first semester, it was really great because I had been going to the gym for a while, so I was pretty athletic and I knew how to throw the frisbee, so I was good at that. So it was just a matter of putting my athleticism and my throwing abilities together and kind of run plays and whatnot. Now that I had a little bit of trouble with, but I learned with the help of my teammates who were honestly amazing. So yeah, I played a lot of ultimate frisbee that year. And it culminated in me actually at the end, I was nominated for an award, most improved player, because at the start I was I was kind of like a dumbass. Still am a dumbass, but a little bit better, right? So at the end, we were nominated awards, and it was between two people, right? It was me and a teammate of mine. Now I don't know if he's watching this video, and honestly, like fucking everyone in the school is finding out about this channel, so I wouldn't be surprised. But again, before I say anything, like this guy, he's amazing, right? Like he is like looking at it logically, objectively, he won the award, and I think that was the right choice. But I remember I was sitting in like it was kind of like a reception dinner type thing, and they had like the award, right? And it was like there's two people, right? Me and this other guy, right? And I was kind of feeling myself. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna win, right? So I was recording the video, or I was recording it, and you couldn't see my face, but you could feel like how it just started to deflate as you see the two pictures. And then when the person who won the award, it wasn't me, right? It was the other guy, right? And, I talk a lot about not comparing yourself to other people. I like to say, do what I say, not what I do. But again, this is a story from when I wasn't necessarily as focused on those things, right? But I remember in that moment, I was so not angry, but just so disappointed in myself, right? And again, like I knew I was capable of being, the best that there ever was, right? I knew I was capable of a lot of those things. And I kind of just forgot the whole thing that I actually got nominated in my first year of playing frisbee, like on a university team, like which is a good achievement, I would say. But in that moment, I was just clouded by like, oh my God, like this guy, he won it instead of me. And like, what did I do wrong? That I should have been me, right? And the whole basis of this video is obsession, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And from that point on, I told myself, like, I'm going to make it onto, because the team that I was on the twos. We have like these things, it was called the ones, which is kind of like the best, like your A team, twos is your B team, so forth. It's pretty self-explanatory, right? So I was like, I told myself in that moment, I'm going to make it onto the ones. I'm going to make it onto the competitive team, and I'm going to prove to myself that I'm tough shit, right? So that's kind of what happened. Now, I want to start off this video, or kind of continue with the good about obsession, right? Because I think there's good in everything, but obsession definitely has some upsides. The good is that you wake up every single day with a purpose, something to do, and something to work towards. Now, what do I mean by that, right? So I came back for the summer because I study internationally. And I came back for the summer, and the first thing I did is I made a plan, right? I made a plan of everything I needed to do to become the best frisbee player there ever was, right? So I was thinking, what do I need to do to become better than I was? Well, I'm a little bit shaky on like the team dynamics, so I should watch videos, right? So I had like sessions where I would just like watch like professional footballer, frisbee players, and I'd kind of analyze every one of their moves, right? So I'd have sessions where I do that, and I'm like, okay, well, I need to practice also my throwing. My throwing in tough situations isn't really the best, right? Now you might be asking, like, how do you throw by yourself, right? Because this is not, I didn't necessarily have so many friends to be playing with all the time. They have lives to live, right? And the answer is to buy like 20 frisbees, which I did. It was like $200, which is crazy amount for frisbees. But buy 20 frisbees, throw by yourself in a park, throw your 20 frisbees, and then go pick them up and do it again. And I'll admit, The people at the park was looking at me a little weird, but I was like, that's what I got to do. That's what I got to do, right? So I get my frisbees, I throw them, right? I also wanted to work on my endurance. So I'd run laps, interval training around the field, and then working on my diet. And then I changed up my gym split to incorporate more like frisbee stuff and kind of decrease the load. So I was able to focus a bit more on frisbee. And if you know anything about me, if you know me personally, I am the type of guy who nothing gets in between me and the gym, right? Like I had my graduation actually today, and if you looked at me, if you saw me during graduation, I was cooked. I was dead. I was going through it. And the second I got back to my place, literally put some eye drops in and put on my gym clothes and went and hit a PR today. So that should tell you, like, things do not get between me and the gym, but it was that important, right? I think I'm rambling, but the point is that every day I had something to do, right? It was either that I was watching a video, learning how to play better as a team. I also joined a league, so I was either going to that, I was throwing, I was at gym doing more frisbee-based workouts, right? And those days were really amazing because as I woke up, there's always something I needed to improve on, always something I need to do, and I always had a direction to go in life. And I think for a lot of young men, and myself included, right? Like there's a time where I just fucking wake up, scroll on Reels, go on YouTube, and it's just nothing kind of driving you, nothing kind of making you want to do something with your life, right? And I don't think what you do is important. I think it's just you need to do something that you can fully focus on and fully just kind of give it your 100%. And I think that's where, I don't want to speak between men and women, but like, at least for me personally, that's where I excel the most. And I think a lot of people would agree, where you have something you can do every single day where you can put in 100% of your effort. And it's like, it blocks out so many of the distractions in your life, right? And like an example, right, is like, I'm not saying like friends are distractions, but you may want to, your friend might invite you to go out to, like, I don't know, go for like coffee or something like that. But because you have something so integral to your life, you're more easily able to say like, listen, no, I have so-and-so to do. That doesn't mean you ignore your friend. That doesn't mean you disrespect them, but it means that sometimes some things are more important, and that's okay, right? And I think that's one of the greatest things about being obsessed, is because it makes like motivation like that. Like you don't need motivation. It's just like, you can't do anything other than that obsession. Now, let's talk about the ugly. Wait, no, not the ugly. That's not how the story goes. Talk about the bad. Now, I said I didn't really win the award, but I didn't go into why, right? Now, again, I went from going to the gym every day and kind of this like more like strength-based workouts to working very, very like cardio-based. Like I did not run. I hate running. If you know me, I hate running. I hate cardio. But I went from no cardio to cardio 7 days a week. I'm going through practices like 3 to 4 days a week, running on the side, and I go from zero to nothing. So obviously my body is not adapted. And when we went to nationals, which is like, I think in Nottingham or something like that, it kind of manifested in my legs, my abductors. And I think I made a video on my strain, but my abductors not really enjoying themselves. And it was quite painful. It was very difficult to run, and yeah, it wasn't good. Now, logically, I'm a medical student as well. So, the first thing, when we have this thing called ice, which is like something rests, ice, something like, you gotta like give yourself some rest. And instead of doing that, I took some painkillers, called it a day, and played all the games, right? And obviously after that, I was in even more pain than I was before, right? And instead of giving myself rest and recovery time, I went to another tournament and did the same thing. And it made my strain worse and ultimately caused me to perform worse. It caused me to maybe not play as well and maybe not get that award, right? And I say this because during the summer when I was training, I felt like the first 2 weeks were great, and then everything else, I started declining, right? Like there was a time where I was going to the league, or not the league, the big leagues. No, I was going to like my frisbee league, and I came back and I was going into my car, and I had to like, let me show you guys. I had to like, basically, instead of walking, cause my like adductors really hurt, I had to waddle like this into the car. like literally water like that. And it was incredibly painful, right? It was incredibly painful. And yeah, it was terrible, right? Like I wasn't able to run. There was something wrong with my calves when I was like running intervals. It hurt really badly. And it ultimately led me to go to a physiotherapist, which I spent a lot of money for, and honestly didn't get a lot of value out of it. But yeah, I had to kind of put a stamp on my training because I physically couldn't do it. And that's the bad about obsession, right? Because it kind of makes you lose sight of the bigger picture, right? And if you forget to zoom out and forget to look at what you're trying to achieve, you kind of focus in on the mini, like the micro, instead of looking at the macro, right? For me, I wanted to get onto the ones, but I forgot in that obsession to get to the ones, to get onto the best team, that I need to be able to play. I need to be able to recover, right? So obsession kind of makes you forget about the bigger picture. And in forgetting about the bigger picture, you harm yourself or harm others by your obsession and not being able to be like, listen, this is not what I need to do, right? So we'll finish off the story with the ugly, right? So we said first, obsession is great for focusing, and you have something to do every day, but you kind of miss the bigger picture. And the ugly is that when it gets to a point where you are forced, because of your obsession, to kind of switch gears and not be able to do what you want, it hurts like hell. It's not fun. It's not fun. So let's finish off the story. I go back to school back in September and we have tryouts for the new team. And remember, the one thing, because after losing that, not getting the award I wanted, I really, really wanted to get onto that competitive team, the ones, right? And that one thing, and I play not like a tryout, but just a friendly game. And I was doing great. I was throwing, I was jumping, and everything was great for that first day. And then second day comes around. Intense pain. Could not move out of my bed, genuinely, for like the first 30 minutes, right? And everything hurts. Everything, everything was just in pain. I could not move. And I was I don't say bricked like a rock. That sounds wrong, but I was clearly something was wrong, right? Mind you, I never went to a doctor at all during these times. So, that's another problem. But actually, no, I went to a lot of physiotherapists. But the point is that I was in a lot of pain. And I could not go to those tryouts. I genuinely could not go to those tryouts because I physically couldn't. My body was not allowing me to go to those tryouts, right? And you think about it, right? You think about it, right? I spent this entire summer just focusing in on becoming the best version I possibly could, right? I sacrificed a lot of things, right? I wasn't going to see my friends as much. I spent a lot of time, money. Those frisbees were expensive. Those physiotherapy sessions were also very expensive, right? So I spent a lot of resources to get to this one singular goal, right? And when it was time to show off my skills, I couldn't because my body was broken down to a point in which I literally could not move, right? I had to take time off the gym. I had to take 2 weeks off. And for some people, they might be like, oh, wow, that's not that bad. But I have never taken more than a week off in my entire 5-6 years of listing at this point. And I'm very I do not take time off. I have been ill. I have been genuinely should not be out of my bed. I would still go. I physically could not do it. I had to take time off, right? And that was really tough because, the gym for a lot of people is like a place to kind of if you're in kind of a bad mental space to go, and I just couldn't go, right? So that was tough as well. And the worst part, the really ugly part about this was that the captains actually reached out to me and they said, we saw you last year. You're really, exceptional at frisbee or so and so, and we want to give you a place on the ones team, right? You just need to come to a tryout and show us that you're recovered and you're fine. And what was going through my head at that moment, right? It's somebody actually noticed all your hard work before. But because of your obsession, because of your drive, because of what you wanted to achieve, perhaps unhealthily, well, clearly in my case, I just threw it all away, right? Because like they basically said, you just need to do the same thing you were doing last year, you would be on the team and you'd be where you want to be, right? But, again, I lost sight of that goal. I lost sight of the bigger picture. And because of that, I wasn't even able to show them what I was capable of, what I was made of, right? And that really hurt, right? That was terrible because I speak about this on camera, right? But no one really knows kind of like the work that you put in for your goals or my goals, right? No one really knows like the tiredness nights, the nights where you just want to go to sleep, but you just can't because something's on your mind, like, oh, I might have missed this or I might have that, or am I going to be able to like show up at my best capacity, right? No one really knows, and no one really knows 100% of what you're going through, which makes it that much worse when you can't get to that goal because it's like all of that work that you've put in, all of those sacrifices, everything has gone to waste, right? Or at least that's what it feels like in the moment, right? So I was not happy during that time, right? And yeah, there's no really, there's a happy ending. Well, not really a happy ending because, it's not as if I magically got better. I made it onto the team and, we lived ever happily ever after, right? I wasn't able to play frisbee that year, wasn't able to play the next semester, and I might not play for a very long time until I get better, right? But the main point of what I'm trying to say is that you gotta use your obsession to things in moderation, right? And I think that's incredibly important. It's great for keeping focused to make sure you know what you're doing and you have something to do, because I feel like a lot of people function a lot better when they have a goal to work towards every single day, not something where they're just like, oh, I kind of want to work, maybe get it. No, like you have a goal to work towards, right? But you got to make sure that you don't necessarily take it too far to a point like myself where you damage perhaps yourself or relationships with other people or opportunities to the point in which you can't recover them, right? I'll say it right here. I don't think I'll ever be back to my 100% where I was maybe a year or two ago because I was stupid. I pushed myself to a point where I shouldn't have. But, there's a lesson in all experiences, right? I don't think that's anything new anyone hasn't said before, right? But it's your job to kind of learn from your experiences and make sure that you don't make the same mistakes, or rather you learn from them and you make better decisions in the future, right? So yeah, I wanted to make that video because I felt like that was definitely a saga in my life. And I think honestly, even though I'm not playing frisbee as much, that obsession has kind of gone to other places, like for example YouTube, right? Like I am in a way kind of like obsessed with making videos and stuff like that, but I'm also trying to zoom out and kind of be like, listen, instead of making videos every day, I'm going to make videos like 3 times a week and stick to that and try to give myself that space so I can, make sure it's the best quality and I'm not like, jeopardizing like my relationship with my family or with my friends, right? So I think on that note, I think it's incredibly important to just remember to zoom out. But if you do get obsessed with something, stick to that, stay there, but don't forget to look at the bigger picture or else bad things will happen. But yeah, that's what I wanted to say today, but I will catch you guys probably back next time. I don't know when next time is, probably on Monday. Yeah, see you guys.